So I spent $100 on a box of untested smartphones, but this is actually box 1 of 2. There is a whole other box, but those are full of tablets. Same thing, they're untested. In this video, we're going to go through these smartphones and see if it was worth it. Up to this point, I have no idea, so you guys can join along in this journey and we can go through and see what we got. If you're curious to know what's in the other box of tablets, be sure to subscribe where I'll go through those in a different video. Also, in my last video, I bought a lot of phones and I found this random iPhone SE2 in it, which is pretty lucky. And because it was locked, I said I was going to drop it off at a recycling center. You guys said I should try resetting it to see if there was any iCloud locks. So I'm in the process of doing that, and we'll come back to this later. This can take a while, so yeah, stay tuned. Okay, let's see what we got in this box. Good packaging, nice, and it looks, oh wow, we have a brick of smartphones, and they're packaged very well, at least in the plastic wrap. Oh my gosh! Well, we got a stack of smartphones. The listing on eBay didn't have any details, it just had a photo and said untested mixed lot of smartphones. So, did take a while for me to unwrap this thing, but we've got the phones here now. And I'm not completely sure, but I think this has the very first smartphone that I've ever owned mixed in. Now, I do have to say at this point, I stopped recording and I went ahead and charged all these smartphones really fast. And I was only able to do that because of today's sponsor, Ugreen. They sent me these chargers and it actually worked perfectly. They sent me a 60-watt fast charger here and a 100-watt fast charger here, which is actually what I used to charge all of these phones, and it was really fast. So with the 65-watt charge block, it only takes 30 minutes to charge a MacBook Air M1 from 0 to 51%. Kinda crazy. And on this bad boy, it provides 100 watts for a single port, which only takes about 27 minutes to charge a MacBook Pro 14-inch to 50%, and an iPhone 15 Pro Max from 0 to 55% in just 30 minutes. Okay, let's plug the Nexode X 100-watt charger in and see how many devices we can get to charge at once. I mean, you could charge laptops, phone, tablets, watches, switches, Rogue Ally, AirPods, pretty much anything on this thing, but we're gonna use what I have here. First up is my lightning cable, then Type-C, and then my noodly cable, which has a little bit of everything, but it's Type A. Okay, let's plug everything in and see if it works. C-Type? Check. iPhone? Check. Random power bank using micro USB? Check. And random S8? Check. And about 12 minutes later, minus my iPhone because I unplugged it. First off, the Galaxy S8, 35%. The Moto G Pure, 97%. And the power bank is now fully charged. Nice! I've been using these charge blocks for a couple weeks. I used them to charge all these phones in this video, and I highly recommend Ugreen charge blocks. So if you guys want one, there's more information in the description, and you can get them for a discount right now. Let's see if these phones were worth it. Now, I have quite the stack, and some of these are not looking pretty. So we're going to start with this one here. It looks like someone threw it out their car window. It's model LG L58VL, which is actually an LG Rebel 2. I believe these were released in 2017, and these stickers are kind of interesting. Hammock the Grid. I don't know what the Grid is. I just googled the Grid and it's a Utah-based racing, arcade gaming, and live entertainment center. I think this phone was run over by a go-kart. It's okay, a crack has never stopped anyone before. Let's turn this on. The power button is hid under this sticker. Ah, LG, you will be missed. I feel like I should be wearing gloves while I handle these phones, but either way, it is Gmail locked, and there are ways to bypass Gmail, but I don't want to get into that, especially for a broken phone that is worth so little even with a repaired screen. Well, that stinks. The first one wasn't worth it, but I am confident that some of these other smartphones are going to be decent, so let's move on to the next. This one is a Motorola G Pure, and this one's got the Grid sticker as well, and you know what? Because it's not the same model as the last. I bet these were lost and found phones collected by the Grid, and considering the eBay seller I bought these from is a thrift store, I bet the Grid just donated all these phones to the thrift store. Well, I guess the lesson here, if I'm right, is don't lose your phone or it's gonna be on YouTube. Okay. Anyways, the Moto G Pure was released in 2021, and a cool feature was they said that you could last 2 days on a single charge. Unfortunately, this is a locked device to a certain carrier. Unsure who that carrier is. But I put an AT&T SIM card in here to see if we could bypass it, and unfortunately, it still read the same thing, and nothing happened. So I'm going to say this one is locked as well. maybe I'll save this for a rainy day and we'll make a full video about this, so be sure to subscribe. It was at this point I went back to the eBay seller on eBay and realized that The Grid is the name of their eBay store and it is not The Grid in Utah, so I was completely wrong. I have no idea where Goodwill got these phones, but I'm going to keep buying them. Yippity-doo-dah, on with the video. Next up is the Galaxy S6. Although the back lens has been smashed, it's been tested, reset, and powers on. Hopefully that is accurate. And it turned on. We're good to go. And interestingly enough, there were no locks on this. The fact that this device is from 2016, it's really impressive. The battery is not just completely fried. And I love the display. AMOLED display on the S6 and the sleek design for 2015 was groundbreaking for this thing. Well, I'm really curious to see if the back camera is working because it looks shattered to me. Let's go in the camera. Oh, wow. The back camera still works. All right, let's take a photo. This is a 16 megapixel back camera, which for 2016 is rather impressive. And as you can see, the camera is working just fine. Doesn't matter that it's cracked. Oh, buddy, I'm stoked on this one. All right, so we're 3 phones in. Finally, we've got a good one. Spent 100. This is worth 35, not bad. Let's see what else we got. Now, this looks like my first phone ever, the J7, but this is a J7 Perks, and it's also from The Grid. This was also released in the same era, 2017 range, and we got power. That's good stuff. Now, the nice thing with these phones is because the back battery cover is removable, you could just pop it out and add new oh, no. Sprint. Ugh! Nobody likes Sprint. Absolutely hated Sprint when I was on them. But look at that, we got a second phone that powers on, and does the touchscreen work? LCD in working condition? Yes, it is. Not the fastest. The J7 series wasn't meant to be like a powerhouse phone, but it definitely got the job done. That was my first phone ever, was a Samsung Galaxy J7V. So be sure to subscribe, we're gonna have more videos on this thing. We're on a pretty good streak here. The S6 and the J7 Perks, both fully functional, not amazing condition, but they're usable phones. You could get a J7 Perks on eBay for anywhere from like 30 to 40 bucks, so not bad at all. Now moving on to the next one, it's a SM-S32VL, but it says it's Google locked. And you know what? Last time it was right with the Google lock. This is a Galaxy J3 Luna Pro. Very interesting name for a phone, but it's part of like that J7, J3 series. And unfortunately, as you can see here, it is Google locked. And I'm not going to go through the trouble of unlocking this thing. Again, maybe for a rainy day, but for now, we're going to power this guy off and put him in a box to rest in peace. Okay, what's up next here? Looks like a J7 as well. Okay, it's a J7 Crown. I don't think this one is from The Grid. It's been tested, reset, and powers on, so that's all good news. Will she power on? Will she Yes, she powers on! Something interesting, when I was in Brazil last year, a lot of these second-hand cell phone shops and cell phone repair shops, they sold the heck out of these J7 phones. Of course, people use other... Oh man, missing a SIM tray. Of course, people use other phones, but these do the job, especially in a place like Brazil where electronics are so expensive. But this is similar to the very first phone that I ever owned, and I love it. Let's see how that camera quality is. Took a picture of my YouTube plaque. Oh, nice. The camera... actually pretty dang good. 13 megapixels for the win. Oh, and I do love the physical home button. But let's power this thing off and put it in our workable good stack of phones so far. Now, just to review, we've got 3 phones that are fully functional and can be resold or used for future videos of mine. I'd say that we've made our money back and we're into the green now. Like, at least on the value. Probably not going to resell these, but it's looking good. Now, this phone here, it was the same thing. We've got a Google lock on here. It's also from The Grid. Dang it, The Grid. We're not even going to turn this thing on. It does turn on, but it's going to have a Google lock just because everyone that said Google lock, it's been accurate. So I'm going to save you guys the grief of me turning this thing on. And we're going to move on to the best phone of them all. This is the Samsung Galaxy J7V. The J7V was, not even kidding, the first smartphone I ever owned, and I was 21 years old. That was the first smartphone I owned. And this one here, it looks like it's barely ever been used, but unfortunately, as I tried to power this thing on, it just wouldn't give me anything, and even when I had it charging, the screen kept flickering, so I think it's got a bad battery. Luckily, this phone here looks about the same in size, and they're not the exact same phone, but figured I would take the battery out of this one here and put it into the J7V. to see if we could get any power, because yeah, the J7V one just not cutting it. That's a nice thing about these replaceable batteries and the removable back battery cover, is you could just do a battery swap in about 30 seconds. So now that we got the battery changed, we got power to the J7V. Let's go. So I guess I'll need to get a new battery, but yeah, the one I had, same thing, it was on Verizon, and this actually might be a Verizon specific phone. Maybe it's not available on other carriers, I'm not sure, but the only wear this has is the micro USB charge port, and that's about it. This thing is awesome. I'm super excited that this one's functional, and all I'm gonna have to do is get another battery so both of the phones work, and we'll be good to go. Now, I've got to say, this is going to be a review for a later video. So if you want to see more on the J7V, be sure to subscribe. So overall, 4 of the phones checked out. They're good to go. So this one here is the J7 Perks, I believe. Oh, no, this is the J7 Crown. So the J7 Crown worked. The S6 worked perfectly fine. That was very exciting for me. I'm kind of a nerd. The J7V checks out, although it needs a new battery. And this one here, the J7 Perks. So I would say that this lot was completely worth it. And these here, these are Google locked, and they're actually cracked as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Maybe I'll come up with a good idea. Or if you guys have one, be sure to comment below. Oh yeah, and you remember the SE2 that I was resetting at the beginning of the video? I was successfully able to reset the phone. And other than the crack, whoever owned this phone, they removed all their iCloud information. And so the phone is 100% usable. I tested everything. The front camera, the back camera, the fingerprint reader, the home button, everything works. I got super lucky on this. So yeah, pretty cool. I got some phones that I could play with and make more videos on. I actually have a ton of phones now. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, I release these every single week, so be sure to subscribe. Huge shout out to today's video sponsor, Ugreen, and thanks eBay and Goodwill and all the thrift stores that I'm buying these auctions from, because they make pretty good videos. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.